What is up, good people? Jungle Inc. here, hope you're doing well. Pretty flat day for crypto in general. Doesn't stop XRP from taking a tumble though. We're down about 4.6% on the day, right at 51 cents on the dot. We've really been choppy. The crypto market in general I'm talking about, since the passing of the Bitcoin ETF. And if things take a turn to the downside, I wouldn't be surprised to see XRP go back into the dirty 30 range again. Over our years, we've spent, plenty of time in that range, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it again. Outside of that, Bitcoin down a little less than 1%, 42,800. Ethereum, well, it's up about 1%, $2,343 at the time of this recording. Now, Eleanor Terrett today reporting that the SEC has just filed a brief in the Debtbox case. And if you remember, that's the one where the SEC said Debtbox is trying to transfer money out of the country and they're this big danger. And of course, courts are going to give the regulatory agency the benefit of the doubt. Why would they lie? Well, it turned out they were. They made it all up. Debtbox wasn't trying to maneuver money around or take it out of the country. There was nothing that would even lead you to believe that. The SEC literally just made it up. And the courts froze this company's bank accounts, and you can imagine all the turmoil you could cause by freezing someone's bank accounts. They can't even do their day-to-day operations. That's a very severe thing to do. And so Eleanor Terrett is reporting that the SEC is choosing to dismiss the case rather than face sanctions from the judge for misleading the court in order to secure a restraining order and asset freeze against Debtbox. Now the question is, first of all, just because they dropped the case, they really shouldn't be able to evade sanctions. They still should get hit here, and Meta Lawman thinks that's exactly what's going to happen. He says the following: outstanding. I've never seen anything quite like this in more than 30 years of representing clients adverse to the SEC. I actually think that this voluntary dismissal could make it more likely that the SEC lawyers involved in the misrepresentation to the court will be sanctioned. And absolutely. I mean, you think about this. They bring a case against someone because supposedly you're breaking all these laws. And then the SEC is the one that breaks the laws, and they think that they can make it all go away just by dropping the case. Just outrageous behavior under Gary Gensler. This goes from the top down, the way that they operate there. This is a huge disgrace. John Deaton saying, Gary Gensler, this disgrace falls under your leadership, or the lack thereof. So he's thinking the same thing I am here. First, your lawyers were described by a federal judge as hypocrites, lacking faithful allegiance to the law. In the Ripple case, the court case of the century, the one that they lost badly, harming XRP investors, harming one of the biggest fintech and crypto companies emerging here in the US, costing them $200 million for nothing. And they're getting called out by that judge. Later, at the appellate court, ruled on your denial on the spot Bitcoin ETF was arbitrary and capricious. And that, of course, was the Grayscale case that they lost miserably. Despite those incredible findings that would make any lawyer or lead cringe from embarrassment and humiliation, your agency's lawyers continue to act with complete disregard for the truth and for justice. Now you run away attempting to shield your unethical lawyers from facing the very law they are sworn to uphold. And this is the deal to me. Regulators, the SEC, they should be given the benefit of the doubt in situations like this. We have to assume they're acting in our good interests. But when they're proven to not, they should be held to a higher standard and harsher penalties. If you or I went into court and lied to a judge like that, do you know the penalties we would face? The SEC, it should be far more severe. And my question is this: when is someone going to be held accountable? They're just terrorizing everyone. You go to court, you cost all of these damages and taxpayers' money as well. Don't forget that. These court cases aren't free. Those attorneys on the SEC side, they're paid well. These judges, they're wasting a lot of money. And time again, they're saying, you have no, grounding in law for these cases. Someone has to hold them to account. I don't know who that is. Now, I saw this announcement on Twitter. The PayPal CEO about 2 weeks ago said, you know what? We're going to shock the world. And we're all sitting around going, what is it? Is there going to be a partnership maybe with X because X is getting into payments? Maybe something going on there. Like, what could it be? And ended up being absolutely nothing. And then today, it was announced that PayPal fired 9% of their staff, approximately 2,500 employees. Like, this is the kind of thing that Gary Gensler should go after. You are, I guess you're trying to pump your stock here, making everyone think there's something exciting on the horizon, and then it ends up being what? That you have to fire 9% of your staff? Like, that's not shocking the world. That's not exciting. That definitely ain't good news. It's a reoccurring theme we've been talking about on this channel. We are starting to see that pick up, you know, as times stay very tight out there financially. I think we'll see more of that. We'll circle back to that discussion here in a minute. Now, today, Standard Chartered put out that they expect the Ethereum spot ETF to be approved in May. Now, I did a video more in depth on this subject yesterday. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet, talking about why we expect May. But it's starting to sound like this is a go. And again, you have the same people behind that. You have BlackRock trying to get their Ethereum ETF through the door. And understand this is a stepping stone to the broader crypto market. Look, the SEC, they're looking weak here. Doesn't look like they have any authority, any power over this space. BlackRock, one of the titans in this industry, in finance, they're smelling blood and they're going after the crypto market. They understand this is their time to seize this market, and there's not a lot the SEC can do to stop them. Will be interesting to see this play out. Again, like I said with the Bitcoin ETF, you don't know for sure until it's approved, announced, but I think that could be a big one because we're going to be post-halvening, really when this market should be picking up, and that would just be another really bullish development for crypto in general. And just understand this is another stepping stone to getting closer to full integration of the crypto asset class into traditional finance. And not every token will trade, you know, on brokerages, but most of them will, either on their own ETF or in bundled products of some sort. Now, I was listening to Lynn Alden today. If you don't listen to her, great analyst out there for the crypto space and Bitcoin. And she described Bitcoin ETF as the most boring thing in crypto, kind of contrary to what most people are thinking. But while she doesn't believe the launch of the ETF will be a major catalyst that kicks off this massive bull run, she does admit that over a multi-year time frame, this could add billions of dollars in additional inflows to the crypto space, which again will have a multiplier effect on value. So it's not this moment in time, straight to 100,000, whole, you know, crypto space going up, but it sets the stage for massive growth into the future. I absolutely agree with her. It's big long term. It's a big step for this asset class. It's not a moment in time where, you know, it's on like Donkey Kong. And most people, you know, leading up to that event thought one of two things. This is the point she was making. Either we were going to go straight parabolic, you know, next day straight to 100,000, or after the ETF, everyone was going to dump and we were going to see this massive sell-off. Neither happened. And that's kind of how it works, right? Like if you have three options and everyone picks A and B, it ends up being C, which is sideways in choppy trading. The option that no one's picking, for whatever reason, typically ends up to be correct. Now, Federal Reserve, what are they going to do? Are they going to start bringing back the interest rates? And it seems like the general consensus out there is, since there's no, and this is the important term, visible downside to the economy, there's no rush to start bringing down rates. The Fed will, of course, need to bring down rates at some point in time here. We know that. But how quickly do they start that process? And the fear that they have in a big way is they don't want to cause this massive exuberance that lands you right back where we started. You know, prices just blowing up, money flowing in. You know, they don't want that to happen. They want to take this as far as they can. This is what I personally feel. The Fed was way too slow to start tightening. They waited way too long, let things get out of hand, and I think they're going to make the same mistake in the opposite direction. They should start loosening things right now as we speak. I don't care what people talk about visible problems. There's problems out there. We just saw it again with PayPal today, laying off 9% of their workforce. You know, there are cracks out there that are getting ready to crumble, and if they take too long, we're going to get a big disaster here that you ain't going to recover from quickly. I think they should start, you know, taking the boot off everyone's neck a little bit, loosening up, but probably not what they're going to do. If I have to guess, they'll take it too far and something's going to break, if not a couple somethings, and it's going to be a little bit of a problem here to deal with. A lot of people starting to sleep on the metaverse. You remember during the bull run, that was all the craze. The metaverse is the future, and now everyone's like, you know, that was a scam. It is so important it's not funny. You see what just launched, the Apple Vision Pro, and in a lot of ways, that headset by Apple is a very un-Apple product. It's not fully baked. It needs a little more work. It's this big heavy thing on your head, gonna hurt your neck. You have this stupid, battery that you have to pack around with it. Like, that's not a finished product. Why are they doing this? Why aren't they waiting till they get that thing fine-tuned? Because they can't. And I'm telling you, the metaverse, along with blockchain, AI, and Web3, this is going to build the future. And they understand they got to get in here and now, even if that product isn't done. They got to capture a part of this market. Don't go to sleep on the metaverse. It's going to come roaring around again. And I think Apple's latest move is a big indicator of that. Now, interesting today on Twitter, Vet. He announced that the AMM amendment vote countdown is now at 26 yes votes. We only have 3 more to go. We're going to get there. Number 1, understand this is an important feature that the XRP ledger lacks that most other blockchains have. We need this to happen. Number 2, on-chain liquidity for XRP I think is very important, and this is going to help boost that in a big way. Because a lot of times you go to trade on the DEX, there isn't a ton of liquidity. Unless Jed McCaleb is dumping millions of coins on there, he must already have had a buyer on the other side. But that's going to help a lot more on-chain activity, I believe, with the XRP ledger. And if we compare this with some interesting assets being added onto the ledger in terms of, some major stable coins, if we can build some bridges, and hopefully some successful projects built on the XRP ledger with their coin trading there on the DEX, this could be a major hub of liquidity on-chain on the XRP ledger, one of the biggest in the world. Personally, am I going to use this? Heck yeah, I am. But that's not why I'm so excited. I think once you have this functionality, the interesting things you can now build, and we're going to see developers roll out, I think is exponential. This is important to having useful applications, which is the one thing we lack. Again, we need stable coins, interesting assets, AMMs. This is a big step forward. Now, it's also going to help Ripple, I believe. One of the problems with their on-demand liquidity is the costs that these exchanges are charging every time you're going from XRP to dollars to yen to whatever. And if we can do that all on chain, well, heck, it's almost free, it's instant, it's fast. And I suspect with those pathfinding algorithms and, Ripple's payment solutions, they can really, with all that on-chain data, dial this thing in and I think have a much better system and a better chance of being successful. This one is big. Again, like the Bitcoin ETF, I'm not saying the minute this thing is approved, we're going to see XRP skyrocket. But it sets the stage. It is important, and I am so excited to see this thing get done and get done right. That's the big thing. These validators took their time to look at all the data, make sure we're ready to go, and it looks like Ripple did a good job rolling this out because we are so close. This thing is as good as done. It is happening. The next article is titled Drama at Solana. Creation of new corporate entity raises questions of decentralized theater. So this is what we always got to look with these blockchains. Are things as decentralized as we think they are, at least from a surface level look? And we see the shuffle is taking place at Solana Labs, one of 2 legal entities tied to blockchain where around 45 employees are moving to a new entity called Anza to help further the decentralization of the Solana ecosystem, maintain and improve blockchain's existing infrastructure, and develop other applications and products. Now's the right time for us to figure out how to build a standalone business. So they're taking some of their business activities, breaking it off into another corporation. When they were asked about the creation of the new legal entity, if this has anything to do with increased legal scrutiny on the blockchain over the past year, spokespeople for Solana Labs were adamant that the spinoff was part of a broader strategic plan, that this is not smoke and mirrors. If I had to guess, a little bit of both. Probably better for the blockchain, but also they understand regulators are looking closely, especially at a blockchain as big as Solana. They're probably trying to shore things up here. Remember this, anytime we're looking at blockchains, it's not about where we are today. If you look back to the past of the XRP ledger, Ripple ran everything, right? Not the case today. And I think we're having some valuable discussions in terms of how to fix governance and some other issues. And I think we'll get there and we'll see the XRP ledger improve. When you look at, the Bitcoin network, in the past, all of the mining took place in either China or Mongolia. That ain't the case today. We've seen that mining really dispersed globally, much more decentralized. Ethereum has totally changed their layout of their blockchain. This stuff evolves over time. So we're not looking for perfect here. We're looking for the right direction and continuous improvement and thought about how to do things better. I remember back in the day, again, going back to Bitcoin's mining when it was all in China, Stephen Thomas said, don't worry about that. Over time, great blockchain will gravitate towards decentralization. We'll see if he's correct across the board, but it seems like that is true. Lastly, Vitalik Buterin saying developers should tread carefully mixing crypto and AI. And man, is there going to be a mixing of that. My buddy Myron always says blockchain is the DNA of AI. The Ethereum co-founder has warmed up to the potential intersection between AI and crypto, although he warns developers, be careful. AI has stolen some of crypto's luster over the past years, and we're going to see this, right? Crypto is going to be super hot. People are going to forget about AI. Then AI goes roaring up. You don't think about the metaverse. It's all important. It's all building blocks of the future. Don't go to sleep about, any part of these big pillars of finance and big pillars of society as we go forward. A Silicon Valley obsessed with Web3 and metaverse seems to turn its attention towards large language models and apps like ChatGPT. Some blockchain projects have tried to take advantage of the new AI hype. And that's the thing. There's some big things going on between blockchain and AI. If you want to know more about it, check out Jerry Hall, check out Nick Black, both very knowledgeable there. But be careful because a lot of scammy projects will just name their token something that sounds AI-like. We've seen this back in the early days of internet companies where they just put .com at the end there to try to get that hype. But there's a lot of that going on. Understand that, but also understand there's going to be some monster potential here to invest in crypto AI projects, and those are two great resources there. Buterin delivered his thoughts on where crypto and AI tech might collide in the coming years, though he also took care to warn that there might be challenges. Using the analogy of a game, Buterin divided the potential overlaps between AI and blockchain into 4 distinct categories. The most viable categories, according to Buterin, contain applications where AI acts as a player in the game at a high level. This category captures apps where the ultimate source of the incentives come from a protocol with human inputs. An example of this would be predictive markets. AI can be used to predict the outcome of a given event, and a blockchain-based mechanism can enforce the rules around how the AI or the person operating it should be rewarded or penalized based on its guesses. So anyway, he goes pretty in-depth. You can read it if you want, but just ensure you understand, blockchain ain't over. Yes, AI is going to be important, but there's a lot here that's emerging that we're just trying to, grasp the true potential there. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.